Hello, chismosas y chismosos, and welcome back to Bay Area Housewife of True Crime, where I like to tell the stories of the real cucuys and lloronas of the world. I'm Audrey, a paralegal turned stay-at-home mom who loves true crime. The cases I cover are wild, topics may be triggering, viewer and listener discretion is strongly advised. The people mentioned are innocent until proven guilty in court. With all that being said, grab your hot Cheetos and let's get started on today's case. It took 20 years and DNA technology to finally catch up to a real-life cucuy by the name of Juan Ramon Meza Segundo. Juan was arrested in 2005 for the 1986 rape and murder of 11-year-old Vanessa Villa. A DNA profile was a match to the semen he left at the crime scene. In 2006, he was sentenced to death. Between 2005 and 2010, he's been linked to a litany of unsolved murders that happened in the Fort Worth area in the 90s. He was given an execution date for 2018, but it was suspended due to the Texas laws regarding the death penalty. In May of 2022, Juan was resentenced to life in prison. This is the story of Texas serial killer Juan Ramon Meza Segundo. The following are all the rapes and murder that this real-life cucuy has been linked to that we know of. All of his victims were found undressed, raped, and strangled to death. Prior to beautiful DNA technology linking him to these crimes, he had gone to prison for a DUI. Vanessa Villa was born on October 3, 1973. She was living in Fort Worth, Texas with her mom and two siblings. Even though she was a minor, 11 years old, a little girl, she was made to do grown things like work. The day she was murdered, on August 3rd of 1986, it was a normal day in Vanessa's universe. It started with her working at La Pulga, aka the flea market in Dallas. Then that night when she was home and her mom and siblings were out running an errand, Juan snuck into her home, raped and strangled her to death. When Vanessa's mom and siblings came home, they found her unconscious in her room. Crazily, 3 cousins were in the home during the time of the attack, but they did not hear it happening because they were sleeping. She was taken to the hospital where she was pronounced deceased in the wee hours of August 4th of 1986. The Sunday after her death, Vanessa's family held a memorial for her. Juan had the audacity to show up to the funeral of the girl he had raped and strangled to death. He knew the family through his ex-wife who worked at a nursing home in Lake Worth, Texas. At one point, Juan's ex worked with Vanessa's mom and 2 other relatives at this facility. On October 6, 1987, a woman woke up with his hands on her in her very own home, in her very own bed. When the victim's daughter woke up, he fled the scene, but not before she was able to get a good look at him. Turns out he was a co-worker of the victim's daughter. For this offense, in June of 1988, he was sentenced to 10 years for burglary. In 1989, he was released on parole, and it didn't take him long to get caught up again. In 1990, he entered a home, butt naked, another woman's home. He tried choking her before jumping out of a second-story window. The victim in this case recognized him as a man who had dated other women in her neighborhood. For this offense, he was sent back to prison from 1991 through 1993. In September of 1994, he kidnapped and killed Melissa Badillo. On November 15, 1994, he killed 30-year-old Frances Williams, a sex worker who was found in a drainage ditch on Cold Springs Road. Juan Meza's semen was inside her mouth. On June 16th of 1995, he kidnapped, raped, and murdered 32-year-old Maria Reina Navarro. Her body was found in Buck Sampson Park. His DNA was also found on her body. He was released from prison in 2000 after serving time for a DUI. First, he went to live at a halfway house, and then he went to live with one of his siblings in Keene, Texas. On December 8, 2006, the trial for 43-year-old Juan Ramon Meza Segundo started. It took 20 years for DNA to finally catch up to him for the serial rapes and murders he committed between 1987 and 1990 that we know of. Juan's ex-wife testified that on the night he killed Vanessa, he came home covered in blood and found a woman's purse and underwear in his car that did not belong to her. The defense called his friends, family, a pastor, church members to testify on his behalf. Juan Meza Segundo was born on January 1st, 1963 in Imperial Valley, California. His father was abusive, and so his mom escaped with her 2 sons to El Paso, Texas. They lived in the hood with no running water. His mom was known to leave him and his siblings for days at a time without any adult supervision. They were often found and seen dumpster diving for food. At one point in their childhood, the siblings were in an orphanage until given back to their mom, who ended up marrying another abusive alcoholic. Juan was described as, quote, kind of slow and always in a daze, unquote. He dropped out of school in the 7th grade. Valentin Meza testified on behalf of his brother. He said that after high school, he joined the military and moved to Keene, Texas with him, and started going to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. He said that he did not recognize his brother when he picked him up from prison in 2000. Valentin testified, and I quote, "When I looked at his face, it was like a Holocaust picture. It was like he didn't have any spirit at all," unquote. And to that, I have to say, how dare you? How dare you compare your killer and rapist of a brother to innocent Holocaust survivors, you idiot, dumb piece of shit. He welcomed his killer rapist brother into his home and laid down some rules. No drinking, help around the house, get a job, and be respectful to his wife. Juan followed the rules and soon became involved in the Seventh-day Adventist Church of Keene, Texas. He would there become a born-again Christian and met his wife Esther in 2001.